Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, No More Secrets. As always, I'm your niece, Katie Albrecht.
And I'm your aunt, Mary Albrecht. Today, we're talking about Terry, my sick non-husband.
Should we discuss the elephant in the room first?
Oh, I forgot already. Okay.
There's
Right.
probably people watching this and they're like, what is Katie doing?
Okay, because last week she was in a pillow fort.
And now I'm in a blanket fort.
Now she's in a blanket fort, but it's not because she's bloated.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Because you can fit in your pants, you said.
I can. Wow. I am wearing pants under this, in case you guys wanted to know.
For some reason,
I just wanted to upgrade, the fort.
It looks like a fur coat.
Yeah.
In
there's
navy
animals
blue.
This color. There's definitely
blue.
animals in this world that are this color, right?
She actually asked me for a blanket, and I thought she was kidding. But apparently she's cold.
Well, what's the temperature, Mary?
66.
I wonder, listeners, can you tell us, is 66 a cold temperature or a hot temperature? Maybe write it in the comments.
Like for daytime, not sleeping.
Not for sleeping. Sleeping, I would prefer colder, actually.
Okay.
But during the day, I'm a little cold. I got long sleeves on. I got, my pants are always short because I'm a taller person, so my ankles are cold,
Well, and I'm a little disappointed because I know that Shane and Travis, our producers, also say that I keep it really cold down here at the fitness loft. But you guys are all younger, and all four of us are from Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why I always get so warm and you guys get cold. And I think it might be something to do with alcohol.
You got the beer blanket going on all the time?
The beer blanket? What's that?
You never heard of that?
No.
It's it's that warm, fuzzy feeling that you get when you drink a lot of beer.
Okay, maybe that's it.
We would try to get it when we would go out to the bars when I was in college. You get a little buzz going, so you got your blanket, so then you can go out without a jacket.
Okay, the beer blanket.
15-degree weather.
Wow, and I went to Madison, and I never heard that.
Wow.
And it's so cold in Madison because it has the two lakes.
I thought it was like coined from Wisconsin specifically.
Well, I mean, imagine it would be.
Yeah.
Anything beer related.
It's too cold to be sober up there,
That's true.
But yeah, it makes you feel a little warmth, so you can go out into freezing cold temperatures and still feel fine, in theory.
And then you pass out and die.
Yeah.
Or that's when you're super drunk. The beer blanket is just a buzz.
It's just, you feel good.
Okay.
Maybe your cheeks get a little red, or like mine do, when I have too much to drink. But anyways, tell us if you think 66 degrees is cold for just regular sitting around temperatures.
Yeah, because normally I have it like 62, so I thought I had made it nice for you.
I do 62 for
sleeping, but not for daytime.
Which is a little extreme from what I've heard, but it's hot. Beds are hot.
Yeah, well, I do 56 for sleeping.
Holy shit.
I opened the sliding glass door in the middle of winter.
That's brave. Oh, I open the window.
You do?
Yeah, we open the window at night.
No matter what?
Usually, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then so it lets some of the heat out and
just some fresh air is nice.
Yeah, I can't do like the oven feeling of just
that stifling feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much. And then with a mat and a cat, and it gets hot.
Is that a Dr. Seuss book?
No, but I should make one, right?
A mat and a cat.
The mat and the cat, and that's it. That's that.
Remember when I was trying to pick out all my mats, and I was really upset.
I was,
oh, you did! Wait, you did it. Mat and a cat, and that's that.
It. I said, that's it. That's that.
There's your book.
That is a Dr. Seuss rhyme.
Wow, and you're such a good writer.
Someone buy it. Come on. I need to pitch it to someone. Come on. I'm such a good writer.
Aren't you getting warm, though, now in that?
I might. Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling it a little bit.
Okay.
It's like having a fur coat, kind of.
Like a blue fur coat, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But anyways, we were talking about serious stuff, right?
Well, first I just wanted to share about when I was trying to pick out my new mats, and I was just so upset with the color choice, so that I ordered a whole nother roll of mats. And then I was upset with that choice. And then I thought, well, I want one of each of them. But then I thought, no, we need a third color. So I ordered a third color. And I spent like the whole month of January one year obsessing about the mats. And I remember telling you that I'm having mat troubles. And you're like, that's funny. I'm not having any mat troubles at all. I thought it was so sweet.
I'm not having any mat troubles. Yeah. Different kind of mat. Or then when he would take yoga classes, you would kind of yell at him and say, like, Matt, move to your mat or something. Or,
Matt, get on your mat.
Matt, get on your mat. Or Matt, reposition yourself on your mat or something. You
Katie,
know?
get on your mat.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
I do remember one thing cute when you guys were first dating, and actually now that this is going to be recorded, it's good because
you got to remember the cute shit.
It'll help me for the reverend.
Yeah, because you're the reverend. Yeah, shit. Yeah.
Reverend shit. Yeah. It was very early, and he was taking yoga, and he was trying to balance, but he was looking at you because you were always in front of him, so he's just sort of watching you. And I said, Matt, don't look at Katie. You know, you want to focus on a spot that isn't moving for balance. And he said to the whole class, it's hard not to look at Katie.
Nah.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, that's some sappy shit. No, that is very sweet. We definitely were more mushy-gushy, I think, in the beginning, you know.
I would say that goes for just about every couple.
Yeah. We have moments and stuff. I think everyone does.
But you can't, I mean, I personally don't want to live like that on a regular basis.
I don't need it.
Yeah, I just want to, like, have fun. I want to laugh more than anything.
Yeah, I want to have fun with you and just like turn off or like, you know, be able to be comfortable, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and not have to worry about, you know?
Yeah, like I've learned to appreciate, and this is, I've been thinking about this a lot. I used to really like words of affirmation. There's like that book, The 5 Love Languages. I used to like being like complimented all the time, and I still like it. You guys can still compliment me.
Go right ahead.
But please. But I've learned to really appreciate the acts of service kind of love, where people do stuff for you.
Where they show you instead of tell you, for instance. Okay.
Yeah, they, instead of just saying the words and then they're not following up with their actions, they actually do stuff and maybe give you like a little compliment here and there or something like that, you know. But like cooking, Matt cooks for me. He cleans the kitchen. He like does all these wonderful things for like big occasions, birthdays. He's always putting on like a big thing, and he always is good at gifts, and like it's just like it's stuff that it's a different kind of love than I thought I wanted, but it's very nice.
And he would show up at our book talks and set up with us.
Help us set up, help us tear down. He showed up when Grandpa was dying and just...
I mean, was just a rock solid, you know, individual, and helped move his stuff and help comfort you and me, and, you know, just a really, really solid guy. He just needs to be doing something to show it more often than not, you know.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, that's how he shows love, and I've learned to really appreciate that. But that's not what we were gonna talk about and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Nice little tangent if he listens.
Not that we ever do tangents, though, here. We usually stay completely focused on topic, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like, because I think it was like 10 minutes ago I said we're going to talk about Terry, and then we got off on the blanket.
Oh, shit. Forgot about that. Maybe we should talk about some more
So the last episode
serious stuff.
did talk about how it was just a really hard week with Terry and all this stuff is happening. And, well, on Friday we did decide to stop all treatment for the cancer and to turn off his heart defibrillator and just let nature take its course. But the doctors feel like his blood work and the way the cancer is spreading, that he probably only has a few weeks to live. And I think it's less, because I'm noticing a very quick decline now that he's off all the meds. It's like he just wants to go now. We turned off his defibrillator because when the cancer grows, it elevates different minerals in your blood, especially calcium, but other ones too. So you get this huge electrolyte imbalance, and then that triggers your heart to race, the cancer. So if he had his defibrillator on, he would be getting constantly shocked at the highest level. Like his body would be trying to shut down, and he would be constantly brought back to life. And there's a chance he could be like shocked at the highest level, like multiple times an hour. And he says like being kicked by a mule. You know, it's like he actually raises up off the bed. You know, so they're like, that would just be cruel. So that's why we turned off the defibrillator. Stopped all cancer drugs, stopped any other kinds of things that are like vitamins or whatever, and we just keep him on comfort medication, and he is enrolled in hospice now. And
he's not even taking the vitamins that he was taking? And that was giving him a little bit more energy before, right?
Yeah. But now he's not even eating, so there's
Okay.
no reason to take vitamins. Like you'd have to take bottles and bottles of vitamins because he had,
Yeah.
today he had two pieces of bread and that's all he's had all day. And Lydia tried to make him a fruit salad or offered him anything. And he said, I'm just not hungry. And I asked him about it and he said, I don't have any place to put it. And I'm thinking, well, that, because his body's shutting down, his stomach shrunk.
Right.
And excuse me, because I'm going to keep checking always because
Emergency
in case.
mode.
Yeah, it really is. So yeah, it was really hard the doctors gathered around and his daughter came and we sat and talked to him in the hospital because he was back in the hospital last week. And said it's time to just let go. And it was really heartbreaking to do that. Not surprising, and we've gotten a lot longer than I ever thought we would, but just heartbreaking and sad. So now at this point, I am kind of in the mode to just want to celebrate him and talk more about the funny things with him and not be so sad all the time. And so we started laughing because, there's so many different things that Terry always says. So we were talking about makeup, like when we were getting ready. Not that we wear much makeup for the show.
This is all natural,
It's
baby.
pretty much, But then Katie asked Travis, can you tell when...
good lighting.
Yeah, right. That's what it is. We got these professional lights.
Yeah.
But you asked Travis about, can
if
you
you
tell?
could tell. Because
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys can't actually tell when a girl is wearing makeup or not. Because girls are really good at making makeup look natural.
It takes a long time.
And they'll look at a picture of, I kid you not, Kim Kardashian and be like, see, she looks great without makeup. And I'm like, no. She is wearing more makeup than I can afford to buy in a month on her face at any given time. You know what I mean? It's expensive and she's wearing a lot of it.
Yeah, and contouring and all that. And so I was
Right.
saying how Terry calls those hose 'em down dates. Because you go on the date, but then you hose them down and they look completely different.
I love that. That's a classic Terry ism.
Hose 'em down dates. So, and then...
What were some other ones that he used to say a lot?
Well, so then I started, this guy, speaking of laughing, like how you just said, how you'd rather just laugh and be and just enjoy your days with Matt rather than always be so mushy and serious, even if it's positive,
Mm-hmm.
And Terry taught me how to laugh. My sense of humor has come from him. Really, I wasn't like this. I grew up with Betty,
I was expecting you to say Ken, but Betty is funnier. Yeah. She
So
there wasn't
serious.
A lot of laughter, yeah.
So serious. Oh, she hated it when we would get goofy at the table, like long before Ken was so violent and whatever. We were just kids and we were laughing and giggling and having a good time. And she was so frustrated because she wanted to talk serious. She wanted to know how our day was and, how, just.
And you have to be very formal because it's family dinner, and that's that's how she perceived dinners with you at that time, because I think that was also like a generational thing too, where you had to be a little bit more formal at the dinner table.
Well, they definitely were in that generation.
Yeah.
And Grandpa's family but Grandma's was so blue collar that she couldn't stand it because they were.
Oh, so she probably wanted the
So
opposite.
she wanted the opposite. But yeah, you're right. It used to be more like you get a dress on to go to dinner and that kind of stuff,
Right, and you sit up straight and you have to follow all the manners and
the
stuff,
pearls. You wear the pearls.
Oh man, to your at-home family dinner. Yeah.
Well, like Grandpa, right? And when he was in his casual outfit, he'd be wearing
Slacks,
nice slacks
and loafers.
and nice loafers with socks and then a belt.
Usually a belt, yeah.
A belt
There's
and a
always a
nice
belt.
shirt with some cards and a pen in
Not
it.
even
and
like
a sweater.
house shoes. Like
No slippers.
no slippers or cozy things.
Nope.
No like
No sweatpants. Nope.
Oh, heaven forbid.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
did
no.
see Grandma in her like nightgown a few times.
Moo moo.
Her moo-moo. Her moo-moo. It was floor length, I remember. And it also, I know that she didn't like us seeing that. like she would wait till we went to bed before she would
put that on
and stuff. And I think it got harder for her because we went to bed later and later as we got older. And she was just like, I think after a while she's probably like, fuck this, and then started just going up before we went up. It's
kind of traumatic for a kid to see your grandma
in a moo-moo. I don't know if she do curlers too. I don't remember it.
No, naturally.
She was naturally curly.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But that would have been great, having the combo. Usually like a floral print or something, or I don't, yeah. But anyways, that's, we don't need to talk about her moo-moo specifically, but yes, she was very strict and very hard to laugh with.
Yeah, exactly. And Terry just loved messing with her because she was so serious and he was so not. So he would just get in her face and just start with all the puns. Not like he would do it very subtly, but he just loved turning a serious conversation into a joke. And she'd keep going and not know that it turned into a joke until like a few sentences later. And then she'd go, "Oh, Terry." And he just loved doing that.
Oh, Terry. I know what I can picture that.
Frustrated,
Well, that's what I always knew of Terry when, before we got to know each other in 2015 and you guys would come over for Christmas and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's what I knew of him, was just always saying like the one-liners and then kind of making like a face afterwards.
Because he felt so stifled at those holiday get-togethers.
I mean, we all did. But it was nice that he was trying to be a little bit more refreshing,
Exactly. And that was the only way he could survive it, if he could just put a little levity to it now and then. But he would just be like, "Get me the fuck out of there." He would be warm. It would always be, speaking of warm, they would keep it pretty warm. And then
yes.
And then it was so serious, and then it was so formal where, like at Christmas we had to go around and everybody had to open their present. It took like 3.5 hours to open presents.
I think we also had to be careful about nice wrapping paper too.
Yes.
If I recall correctly.
Yes.
Like, don't rip it to shreds. It was just kind of implied, I think, to, make it like, oh, you can reuse it or something,
Yeah, and also don't put it on the floor. And comment on how pretty it's wrapped. Oh, pretty paper. You're supposed to say that.
Oh, I never picked up on that, but I do realize that she hinted at that pretty pushy, like, "That's a very pretty paper, isn't it?" And they would just do the no teeth like grin. And I'm like, yeah, yes, it is.
So Terry put up with a lot because we were so opposite, but I credit him with giving me a really good sense of humor, and we've just laughed and laughed and laughed through the years, and it's been great. And I want that at the end here, and I want it going forward. I want happy memories of him because he's a one-of-a-kind guy,
Yeah.
So, but he, just little things like he calls Home Depot Home Debit and Menards Menhards.
Little tangent to that. I had a friend in grade school that called Menards Minards, which is similar, but
he calls a computer the
shout out to Aiden. I think he used to listen to this show, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was my old friend Aiden.
Minards.
He called it Minards, and that always stuck with me. This was like first grade, and I was like, that's funny.
Cute. Yeah.
But yeah.
And then he calls the computer the confuser because he's so confused. I mean, you think I'm bad with technology. He's definitely worse. I mean, he's 15 years older.
I mean, I did live with you guys. I do.
Yeah, so yeah.
I did have to help with the passwords and stuff beforehand, but...
He called the office his orifice.
That's lovely.
What is an orifice? Isn't it like a butthole or something?
Yeah, it's a hole entering your body.
Somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, so the reason he called it is...
have 3 orifices.
She knows this stuff. So no, I
just think it's funny that he's been calling his office an orifice this whole time, and you had no idea what that meant.
Well, I thought it was something related to a hole, and I think
it's a hole. Yeah.
And I think he called it that because he would also call the bathroom his
orifice.
His office.
Oh.
So the bathroom was his office, but his office was the orifice because in the bathroom you're using your orifice, so he interchanged them.
I see. I see, yes. Thank you for clarifying that.
So, but yeah, funny guy.
He's funny, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he always was, and he just was. I don't know, and a great perspective on life. Just I don't know, just way different than Grandpa.
I am getting hot.
Okay, yay! Finally, I was worried.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's very different from all of our family. And was always just much lighter than I think than the weight that all of us had carrying around with our own family trauma and stuff. When he would come to all these get-togethers, he was definitely a lighter force.
And then, but also tough, strong. I was going to say, so it came out stuff. You know, strong, tough, stuff. He's stuff.
Yeah,
and Terry's so stuff.
Yeah.
But he was tough enough to not take any crap, any of the Albrecht crap.
Right.
Especially from Ken. But even like from my mom, that's when he would just lighten her up or go off on a different, like distract her or something like that. He just wasn't going to go down those paths of the Albrecht craziness. Yeah. But speaking of which, actually, that's not speaking of anything that we were speaking of, except for that it's related to Terry. But I'm trying to transition, smoothly.
Yeah.
How's it going so far?
Totally nailing it. Yeah.
We're thinking about getting into dreams and analysis of dreams going forward, and I'd love to get a specialist on. And I got a couple books about it. That's why I keep pointing over here if you're watching. But Terry came home on Saturday from the hospital. We stopped all the drugs on Friday. Saturday we met with hospice and did a lot of things that were very serious and heavy. And then that night I dreamt that his brother, Dan, was in our house. And I was heading upstairs to go see Terry. But he said, I said, Dan, what are you doing here? And he said, I'm going to get Terry. Okay. Can I look at this? Dan is dead. He died in 2010, and and we didn't like him. So, and he's never been in our house, and I haven't thought about him for years. So why would all of a sudden Dan appear to say he's going up to get Terry when he doesn't know in my dream meaning?
Right.
So to me, that means he's coming to get Terry because Terry's close to death.
Well, you've had dreams like that before.
Yeah.
Oh, there's actually a dead acquaintance thing in here.
Okay.
Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
So we can start with that. So the dead acquaintance symbol in a dream, according to this book, says, seeing a person in a dream who has passed away in real life can represent that person, your memory of them, a characteristic of theirs, aka optimism, creativity, etc., or something else you associate with them. The person might be on your mind because you've been thinking about them, you're missing them, a significant date, such as a birthday is approaching, or a significant impending doom, I would interpret that as. You're curious about how they're doing or what they'd think about something in your life, which could also be part of it. See also person dead body, death of a loved one dying.
And it is a dictionary, so you can look things up like in alphabetical order, and then they define it and say see also. But yeah, I mean, it's possible that because I was thinking about his sister Mary, she's 80 years old, and she's the oldest, and she's going to be the one out of the three left. And so maybe I was thinking indirectly about the three of them, and that's how Dan came about.
It's possible.
But it was so vivid, and the fact that he looked at me and said, I'm going to get Terry.
I think that's a sign.
Yeah.
That they're
connecting. Dan and Terry are, because they were really...
I definitely believe in that.
You do?
Yeah, and I believed it when Grandma was... Or Grandpa, maybe it was with Grandpa that Grandma was coming to get him. Is that what you said?
That was my grandma Elvina. Grandpa was coming to get him. Get her. Yeah.
Okay.
In my dream.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then, but also like with Grandma Elvina, she I dreamt 2 weeks before she died, I dreamt that all of her brothers and sisters were at her house, and they were like in their 50s, and they were having a big family party. But they had all passed away before Grandma Elvina.
Okay.
But they were all alive. And so to me, that's really beautiful because they were all like young again, and they were all together, all 8 kids, and they were having a wonderful time, and they were healthy. And I'm thinking maybe that's what heaven is. You go back to a lot of people say that heaven is you go back to where you were best in your life, like whatever era you felt the best, did the best, looked the best.
That makes sense, yeah.
The whole thing. So would explain why, Grandma cooking for her whole family would make sense, because she always cooked for her whole family from age like 6th grade on, because they were on a farm and the mom needed help, and she was one of 8 kids, and there were only 2 girls, and the other girl didn't want anything to do with cooking. So so it's kind of neat. I have to say it's kind of a beautiful time. It's a very sad time, but it's also pretty, I don't know, special.
I've always thought there was a beauty to cancer as opposed to other ways to go, because I feel like you know that it's coming. I mean, it's coming for all of us. We just, when you have a timeline like that, you can actually say what you need to say. You can do what you need to do for the person and make sure it's all out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas if it's a sudden death or sudden, crazy injury or something like that causes death, where it's just so unexpected, you don't get that. You don't get that closure with the person. You don't get to say goodbye to them. And I think it's a really beautiful thing, actually. I was able to say goodbye to Grandma. Like, I wrote her a letter. It wasn't a goodbye letter, but it was just like, I love you. Thank you for everything you've done for me. And, I felt really good after that.
It's not a shock. Yeah. So if somebody dies suddenly, that's harder for the people still living. But if somebody dies slowly,
it's harder for the
person dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
My whole thing right now is that I don't want Terry to feel bad or sad. He's not afraid of dying, but he feels like he's letting me and Megan down, his daughter.
Yeah.
And he just hopes that we're going to be okay, because he likes being the protector. So I would like that phase to be gone. Like, I'd like him to not be aware that he's dying.
Yeah, you want him to be at peace.
Yeah.
Which death might bring that.
Well, or hopefully a little bit earlier, like if he's just sleeping,
Yeah.
I just don't want him to be aware anymore.
That's like being conscious versus unconscious.
Yeah.
If he goes unconscious, then
that's better.
I think you'd be at peace.
I would be at peace, and he would hopefully be at peace too, just because I just hate seeing him feel bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we got to talking about dreams then, and then you said, does that book have anything about bitches?
High school bitches.
High school bitches?
Yeah, because I had a dream last night about...
Oh, just last night?
This was literally... I was going to text you this morning, but it just saved as a draft.
Okay.
Yeah, because I typed it out and everything. Yeah, I asked Mary about high school bitches, if there was anything about that.
And Travis, who's down here, who went to high school with Katie, is like, who are you thinking about?
Right, so I named the person, but I'm not going to obviously say
Obviously, right.
on here. But yeah, I just had a dream that there was this girl I went to high school with, who we were... and I haven't not thought about her in years. And so it was really random. I probably saw her on Facebook because I'm friends with her on Facebook.
Okay.
But I haven't thought about her in years. We used to be good friends. And then we just kind of drifted apart in high school and stuff. And I had a dream that we went to college together. And like, she would be really like... nice and engaging to me and stuff and like friendly. And then when another friend came by, the other friend would kind of like put her arm around this girl and then like look over her shoulder and be like, oh, we can go join this game over here. And it's like a group of people playing board games. And there's only 2 seats left and there's 3 of us. And I'm like, okay, I get it,
And she wouldn't try to include
she just would
you.
ignore me.
Like after being all nice to you.
She would completely ignore me, yeah. And that actually did kind of
in the
happen.
dream.
In the dream, yeah.
Right.
And that did happen in kind of real life. Like we drifted apart, but then we had a moment before graduation where we're like, oh my God, it's like we used to be such good friends, and all this
Because
stuff.
you were good friends in grade school?
We were, yeah. We were good friends, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just took it as we drifted apart, but I think it affected her more because she probably was the one that drifted,
Okay, interesting, yeah.
So I'm assuming that's what happened, why she was so upset. But then, like at a grad party 2 weeks later, we were at the same one, and she just totally ignored me. So the dream kind of reminded me of that. But this was like 12
years later.
years ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect me. Like,
Yeah.
it's just something that like I remember.
Maybe you saw her, like you say, on social media or something, and it just triggered a subconscious thing.
It might have, yeah. Like, there's no hard feelings or anything.
Yeah.
But it was just funny how she made this big thing about, like, oh, we gotta text each other and stuff, and yeah.
You're like, yeah, and you exchanged information and all that.
Right.
And
I didn't cry because graduating high school was so happy for me because I did not like high school.
you could get out of the house.
Yeah, I was like...
Meaning get away from home.
Yeah, I can get away from my, my household with my dad, who was like, he had just had his accident after my senior or before my senior year.
When did you graduate?
2010.
Yeah, so 29 he had it.
2009 he had his accident where he had the frostbite, and he was on the prescription drugs, and he was already on the slow decline of being like worse and worse and worse and worse.
And then you were the only one left at home?
And then I didn't like high school really much either.
And then you had your boyfriend that caused a lot of strife
caused a lot of problems too in high school. So like graduation, I was beaming ear to ear. There was nothing bringing me down from like leaving. So I didn't I couldn't relate to people that were crying about this stuff. I was like, I cannot cry for the life of me. I'm sorry. This is too awesome. I get to leave this place. Like, I was so excited about it. I mean, it was great, So yeah, we have different memories, but it's just funny bringing it back to the dreams that I had a dream so many years later that was a similar.
And last night.
And last night when we were about to talk about dreams and
at
stuff,
least a little bit. But then I was reminding her about how a couple months ago she had a dream that the Green Bay Packers were playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But Tom Brady, who's the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was the quarterback.
He's back now.
I know, and he's back.
He's back now, which is, he made it a big dramatic thing and then decided to come back.
And a lot of athletes do that, but...
And I get it, like, it's your life.
You don't know how to live without it.
You don't know how to live without it. I think that's what's happening with Brady.
But in her dream, she's watching the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but Tom Brady is the quarterback for both teams. And I'm trying to figure out how that works.
Every possession, he's on the field.
But does he have to change his outfit?
I think so. I think
you'd have to because you got to be in the right color.
Just like, or maybe it's like a reversible jersey, like on the spot that you can just do on the spot, And you're like, okay, guys, let's go. We got like, he knows all the players on both teams. So like, it was just like how does this work?
But what does that mean to you? Like,
Tom Brady won. I'll tell you what.
That's how he what?
He won the game because he was.
How could he not?
He was on both sides of the field. Right. It's hard not to.
But how, like, what does that mean to you? Like that Tom Brady is just everywhere, or that he's jealous of Aaron Rodgers, or
I don't remember what I was going through in my life to think about that. But I'm assuming it was probably football season. And it was probably just around or whatever.
And
I did have a separate Aaron Rodgers dream a long time ago, probably when I was in college, where I was going to a Packer game, and then up at on the way there was at this restaurant, Aaron Rodgers was there, and I went up to him and we made a handshake together, and it was our secret cool handshake. And he's like, okay, every time I win a game we got to do our handshake, and I'm like, all right, sounds like a good plan. And then I woke up and I was really depressed after that because I wanted it to be real,
You have a lot of vivid dreams. There was another one you just told out there.
Oh, about Brie Larson. Yeah.
Brie, if you want to be on our show, just contact our agent.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I had a phase. I don't know why, but I just... Everything Brie Larson did kind of annoyed me, and I don't know why. Literally, this was years ago already.
Apparently she's an actress.
She's an Oscar-winning actress.
Oh.
Yes. She's very accomplished.
Okay.
And I had this dream that I was sitting down at a table with Brie Larson and then another version of Brie Larson right next to me. And then Brie Larson over here would kind of like whisper to me and be like, man, I really hate that fucking bitch. And like point at the other Brie Larson across the table. And I woke up and I was like, wow, even Brie Larson doesn't like Brie Larson.
Your brain is amazing. Like, what the heck?
I love my dreams. I really need to write them down more because I think
it could be a whole
really
book.
fantasy.
Can you think of any others right now?
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure ones will like spark memories and stuff. But
how about with Terry? Any
dreams about him?
Not dreams, but just topics. Things that you.
I remember. I mean, because there was a time. And I don't know I think we've talked about this on the podcast, where I not only lived with you guys for a few months, but before then, when we were writing our book, I would come and stay with you like
That's
every
true.
weekend.
You could stay overnight, yeah.
For a few years.
Yeah.
And we would do that so that we could write our book the next day, come to the loft and like just sit and, stare off into space
Sorta
and
right.
talk and then write for 20 minutes.
But we wrote for 20 minutes.
We did write, and we were consistent every week.
Even though we were there for 6 hours.
Yes. And ate a lot of cheese sticks, drank a lot of beer.
And veggie wraps.
And veggie wraps, yeah. And McDonald's iced coffee. That was another big one.
That was back then. Yeah, wow, what a phase.
But I remember one of those times that I came back was like right around Easter. And I remember this was like such a fond like memory that I had with both of you guys. We were sitting in your kitchen over at Rivendell and we were like painting Easter eggs, and I was 24 or something, I was the youngest one in the room, so it's not like we had kids around us or anything, but
he wanted to do Easter eggs.
He wanted to do Easter eggs, yeah, and we had little pens and drew like mustaches on them and stuff.
And I remember
one of them had an afro.
I don't remember that.
Remember that? Yeah.
He had a brown egg.
We did have a brown egg with an afro. He was the cool egg, for sure.
I know, Terry just loves that kind of stuff, Like,
and it was a really good memory. I was like, this is nice, even though we're not kids and this is traditionally a kid activity or whatever. It was nice that he put that together, and I think we laughed a lot that night.
And I've never colored Easter eggs in my life before that,
But really?
Well, he would do it with Megan a lot, and I would watch, but I never really
like took part in it.
Yeah, but we never did it at home, like with Grandma. She wasn't into that kind of stuff. It was messy and smelly.
They are both of those things, yeah. I mean,
we have pictures of that, yeah.
I know. I should probably bring up some pictures. I think we have a picture of the afro egg, honestly.
It was so funny.
And then there was I think you kind of held it and like posed with it. And we just like laughed so hard.
It's a good memory.
It was a really good memory. I mean, and we would have all those Critterfests.
And Critterfest ended when Terry got cancer, so that ended 2 summers ago because he just didn't feel like being outside, and he just didn't feel good most of the time, and it's kind of sad that it ended because they were really special times,
Yeah, so Critterfest is when Mary came home for the day and would let out all the animals, and then Terry would go out. So you guys started before I came, but I joined in eventually. And yeah, Mary would come and it was like probably Noah's Ark or something. All the animals just follow you
just
and like sprint out the door. And then me and Terry would be talking and drinking, and you would be off running, chasing Spook.
Because it's really hard to chase a cat. Just, and we have woods all around us and trees, and I'm trying to follow a cat, and she's
kind of dopey.
And she was also dopey, but had this, like, I got to get out of here streak. Just.
Yeah, so Mary would be chasing Spook around, and Terry and I would be getting drunk, and it's just
good times.
Good times, man. We would put on a fire sometimes, and it was really, really great.
There were times on Casey Road before that era when we'd sit out there, and Terry would have his fishing rod, and he would just, and then Spook would go after the lure, and he would reel it back.
Oh.
And then do it again, and reel it back, like that.
That's smart. That's a good way to actually engage a cat. Yeah,
exactly, and that's what makes Terry so cool. Just different things like that make him. Like one time he had this surgery. He had so many surgeries long before he got cancer, but he had just gotten out of, I think he lost his large intestine or something. I don't know. It was like, a big thing. And he was supposed to go home and take it easy and not drink and not anything. And then I was going to come here to the loft and teach. And I said, are you going to be okay? And he's like, I'm fine. And so I leave and he's just relaxed on the couch and whatever. But then nobody showed up for the class. And I went home like a half hour later. And he's on the deck with a scotch on rocks and a cigar. And then I pull up and then I'm like, hey, what's going on? And then a pizza delivery car drives up. He ordered a big monster pizza, like with everything on it, all kinds of meats and whatever. He's like, shit, I didn't know you'd be home. He ate it. I'm like, just go for it, man, because that's how he was. He always, in fact, I just talked to his sister today because she called and knows the news now. And she's like, he's always done everything the way he wants to do it. And, since he was like 10, like, don't get in my way, Mom and Dad. Don't even bother,
Right.
Like, he just, you're not going to let me go out at night? I'll climb out the window at midnight and go out all night, that kind of stuff, and he had marijuana plants before.
I was just going to bring that up. I remember him saying the marijuana plants, like in his bedroom or something.
In his bedroom.
What did his mom think it was?
Plants. And then he went away for a weekend or something. Mom, can you water my plants? And
I think he told her that he was growing like oregano or something like that.
Oh, really?
And that's why it's so stinky. Yeah. Or something or there was something like that where he told him, it's a spice of some sort.
But he said, Mom, can you water my plants? Oh, sure, sweetie, no problem. You just have a good time. So she's up there watering
her weed. His weed, yeah.
Stuff like that, And he loved drag racing in the streets of Chicago because back then you could do stuff like that. He wasn't like he never did any criminal stuff, but he just was like a kind of a daredevil,
Yeah.
One time I think when he was about 22, he bought a regular school bus, but he made it into just this amazing, like basically a camper. I mean, decked out to the nines and whatever. And then off he went on a road trip with a bunch of his buddies in this really cool school bus, and, just stuff like that. He's just a cool guy. And actually, this is a little more serious, but I'm going to read it. I just thought of it because we had talked on the show back when Terry was really sick before about how he had saved that girl that was on the path and had gotten raped and tried to attempted, to kill her. And I just heard from her father Sunday, which was the day after we just got home from the hospital, and we're like talking about the end, and he just wrote out, for some reason he just reached out and he just had instinct, and he said, hello, Mary, this is so-and-so's dad. A couple of days ago I was sitting out in front of our church and these lovely bluebirds began flying from tree to tree. It brought back a very happy memory of us sitting with you and Terry watching bluebirds fly in the golden hour as twilight fell in your front yard. I won't ever forget that peaceful evening spent with the two of you, just as I will never forget the beautiful role each of you played in the healing journey of my daughter and all of us. Much love from all of us to all of you forever. And so I said, wow, your timing is serendipitous because Terry is having a very hard time. I'm thinking we don't have much longer for him in this world. He's made a wonderful impact on many people during his life, but I'm especially proud of him for how he handled the situation with your daughter all those years ago. He's as strong as they come, even down to dealing with being this sick. He's lived way longer than any of his doctors thought he would once diagnosed. I'm heartbroken, but also would like to see him out of pain. Anyway, love to all of you and the rest of your crew. Nice. Yeah. So, I mean, he's just amazing. He's an amazing person. And the fact that he loves me, it's like, it must mean I'm amazing.
Yeah. Good way
or
to
maybe
look at
I just never went away.
Or you just Couldn't let go.
A little bit of stalking.
No, it's he is a really good person, and I think you're right that he has affected a lot of people, and he's not gone yet, so it's...
I wouldn't count him out yet.
Yeah.
Because he's surprised us all so far.
Obviously a lot weaker than he has ever been in his life.
Yep.
And it's not promising, but, it's...
He also says he's going to come back and haunt me and Megan.
I can see him doing, like, goofy shit.
Goofy shit, not in a bad way, but...
Playing pranks on you or something, yeah.
Yeah, because he's like...
moving, especially you with your OCD, like, moving books and, like, in a different order or something.
Oh, my God.
Like, or the pillow, like, all of a sudden will be like this.
And that's how it would be with him.
And then, like, a blanket, is not folded on the couch.
And when I know I didn't leave it that way, and it ends up that way,
right,
that would be him.
Yeah. And
he did say, he's done a lot of studying about parallel lives and spirituality and the afterlife. And this is even long before he was ever sick. And he's like, I'm not going, you're not going to be able to see me, and you're not going to be able to, my body won't be here anymore, but I'm not going anywhere,
Right.
And I like that. That's really peaceful. So who knows, by the next time we might be talking about his death, because it's pretty close. But who knows? We don't know.
We're holding on to the good stuff for now. And hopefully
I just burped.
It's lovely. Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll keep everyone posted about it and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and it's actually good to say in advance for a change rather than just disappear. But if he does pass, I'm going to have a really busy few weeks, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to podcast. So
I think that's
we might have to take a break. Yeah. But we do have a lot of guests lined up especially from the book that Sally Sebastian Walker talked about, the 365 Days of Self-Love. We reached out to the other authors, and we've got about, it's either 3 or 4 so far that want to be on our show and talk about their path. And then we have a couple of friends that want to be on, and a couple of repeat guests. So we really have a really great lineup of future guests. Depending on what happens with Terry, they'll be here at some point.
Right.
But for today, we just thought, again, because it's been so hard for me these last few weeks, and I'm so tired, that let's just wait on the guests, and we'll pick it up when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
As much as I want to pretend like I'm cheerful, I'm not.
I think you've done a great job pretending this whole time, at least.
Really? Okay, good. No, I mean, I have so much. I have so much. I have a great life, and it's going to be fine. It's just going to be sad.
I mean, yeah, two things are true at the same time. You can have a great life and a lot to be grateful of, but still experience grief.
And it can be all at the same time. 30 years with him.
Yeah. That's my life. That's my lifetime, yeah.
That's exactly your lifetime.
Yeah.
Whoa, wait a second. Because our official date was in July of 92, and you were born in March.
3 months old.
Right.
Or 4 months old or something, yeah.
Yeah. But I've known him since 90, because he was a student in my class.
Okay.
At the Center Club here. So, he likes to say he bagged the aerobics instructor. He's so romantic.
Oh, I remember also, this is one other thing that he used to say. I asked him once, like, how he started, like, having feelings for you, or how did that start happening? And he said that you guys had a pool, you were playing chicken in the pool.
Correct.
And you went up on his shoulders, and then he said, "Man, I never want this girl to get off."
Oh. He told me
that's how he fell in love with you. So you must have had great legs or something. I don't know.
Well, I did have great legs, but also, the chemistry when you first actually touched like that, because we weren't dating.
Yeah.
And we had a step and splash, and that was did I ever tell you this when, I think I did, but we were at the Center Club in Libertyville, Illinois, we were on it was July, so we were on the patio doing a step class outside. So that was the step part. And then the splash was to dive into the pool and do water aerobics. And that ended with a game of chicken. So it was like a whole huge group of people. But I invited Grandma to come watch.
She was there for that?
Okay, so I haven't told you because I just said, Mom, we're going to be out at, outside and you could like drive and see me teach and we can wave to you and stuff. And she goes, okay. So she came. I said, okay, class. I was out on the patio and I said, that's my mom up there. Everybody wave, to my mom. Mm-hmm. And Terry, who we weren't dating, we knew each other, but there was not, I didn't think there was anything between us or whatever. He just decides to mess with her. And he jumps up and down. He goes, hi, Mom. Guess what? I'm your worst nightmare. I'm your future son-in-law. I'm serious.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, why did he say that? And then my mom was so upset. Like, who was that?
It never got better from there.
Who was that crazy man? And then he ends up being like my boyfriend later. Yeah. And she's like, because that was so uncouth to do in front of like 25 people. And then she's up there feeling all embarrassed. And what's everyone going to think? And what do you say? And then I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? Well, then we dive in and we do the water aerobics. But then it comes to a game of chicken. And somehow we ended up partners. And I climbed on his shoulders. And I remember feeling the chemistry too. Like, whoa. I didn't think, because I thought he was married. He talked about Megan all the time and he was a lot older and I just thought he wasn't. So then after the step and splash, we went to a local bar and all of us partied, but then he and I stayed and talked till like 1 a.m. And then when we were leaving the bar, he said, well, maybe we could play tennis because we talked about tennis. And he's like, do you want to play tennis on Sunday? And I said, sure. I said, yeah, like with you and your wife? And he said, I don't have a wife. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that was going to be our first date, was that Sunday. And it was our first date, but it stormed.
Okay.
So we went to Olive Garden instead, and we have never played tennis for 30 years. But we've been to the Olive Garden a lot.
Tennis is kind of random. I get that you were athletic back then, and or you're both athletic people and stuff, but it's not something that I have heard you play in my lifetime.
Oh no, it's not my thing at all. I can do it, but because he asked me and I had a crush on him by then,
yeah,
I was like, oh sure, yes, I'll play tennis.
I'll hit a ball back and forth.
Yeah. But instead it stormed. I was like, oh, thank God. And we went to the Olive Garden, so that was our first date.
Nice. And then you've been back to Olive Garden.
Yep, lots. And so it's just funny because that whole thing transpired all on the same day with him telling Grandma that he's my future son-in-law, and then the game of chicken, and then out at the bar, and then him asking me out and me finding out that he's not married.
It sounds like you guys are pretty, you have similar moments that you both knew.
Yeah. And he was dating somebody else.
I remember you said that.
Yeah, and I think I even said it on the show.
And you caught him.
I did.
At this other person's house or something.
Yeah, because I would teach the 7 a.m. class.
And you guys weren't serious yet.
We hadn't made a commitment, but I just
seeing each other, but that means you can also be seeing someone else at the same time.
But I was the kind of person that if you're starting to date somebody, I was the new one, but he had been with her for several months, and their kids knew each other, and they had been to church functions together, and I think I wouldn't have tried to date someone else at the time, but I don't think he was looking for it. It was just because I hopped on his shoulders.
Right.
It wasn't. It was.
That was the moment.
Yeah.
He did tell me that.
So, but then I taught the 7 a.m. class, which he was in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. And the couple weeks into us dating, he wasn't there. And he would come like clockwork. And I'm like, where is he? And then I was like, oh, well. And I drove home down the streets of Libertyville, and I saw his truck parked outside somebody's house at like 8 a.m. and you're like, what's that about?
Right.
Well, then it happened a few more times, and there the truck was again, and then I ended up, I think I listened to a message on his answering machine because I was curious, like I was
Well,
being...
it starts to like build up.
Yeah, and I'm like, are you
had
dating somebody
reason
else?
to
Yeah.
believe that something, like, what's going on,
Yeah, and the message was, Terry, this is so-and-so. Just go be with that other girl. I know that but she was saying in a bitchy way, like, just go be with her because I know, whatever, and like that. And I was like, oh, he's dating someone else. So then I confronted him, and then he's like, yeah, I am. I kind of have feelings for her too, and she wants me to raise her 2 boys, and Megan knows her kids, and we've been a family going to church together. And I'm like, what? I was floored by that because it was so not what we were.
Right.
We were just like 2 single people, like doing random.
Whereas he's being dad over here.
Yeah.
And then how did it officially end with her?
So
what happened when you confronted him?
So he said he wanted to keep seeing her and keep seeing me. And I just said, well,
that's such a classic response of someone dating 2 people.
I know.
Well, I want to see you guys both. I like you both. What's so wrong with that?
But let me just figure it out. And I, believe it or not, even though I didn't feel like I was a strong person at the time, I told him, I'm not into that. And I said, just go, somewhere else.
Right.
Or just, that's fine. So we broke up. And it was about maybe a month later that he came knocking on my door. I lived in Vernon Hills at the time, right across from where you lived on Grosse Pointe Boulevard.
Another parallel
we
part
had
of our lives.
A lot of that. And he came knocking one day, and he said, I broke up with the other person, and I want to be with you, and I want to be committed. And then we were ever since, for 30 years.
And you also said that there was no trust issues after that whatsoever.
Which is interesting because you'd think I would.
Right.
But I think because he chose me, it helped.
It sounded like you also had a break in between, so it's not like he was just doing it because he felt like he had to.
Right. He actually showed up.
He spent some time to think about it, and
yeah,
obviously made a decent effort to get back with you.
Right, to actually come in person. But then after he told that other person that he chose me, apparently I wasn't there, but she went over to his house, stormed into the house and took everything out of the buffet cabinet, all the dishes and everything, and threw them against the wall and had a temper tantrum in front of Megan, who was 8. 7, 7-ish, going on 8. And just went crazy. And Terry was there too, but he just, you need to get out of here, you need to leave and whatever. And so years later, as Megan and I got closer, she said, thank God Dad chose you, because she was crazy. And I said,
she had a lot of emotional problems and stuff.
Right, because I said, oh, you mean like the whole buffet thing? Oh, no, she was crazy way before that, and I hated her sons. And she didn't want to be like, brother to, sister and brother to them. And so...
Right.
So anyway, it all worked out. But that was a very tumultuous time. I was only 28 and he was 42, so yeah, he's 14 and a half years, so he turned 43 in December.
So I know this is kind of tangent, but it's about Terry, so it makes sense. With that age difference, I remember you telling me that people had a hard time accepting it at first.
Yeah, well, on his side more.
Because you're the young girl coming in, and people tend to be distrustful of that. Or
his family mostly, they're like, Mary. Mary. Well, his sister is Mary, but also Mary's our age, and that would be his nieces.
Okay.
And they're like, she's a different generation, like... Even though it wasn't quite that, but
right.
They felt that way, and they thought he was making a mistake, and they didn't think I was good enough for him or whatever. They don't feel that way at all anymore. They've
It's
seen,
since changed
yeah,
and stuff, but
yeah.
I think that is people do judge age gaps in relationships.
Yeah, they do. They do. And Terry's always been a younger version. Like, he's always been about 10 years younger. So he might have been more like 4.5 years older, because everyone always thought we were within that time frame, all the way up until him getting sick with cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he aged really quickly.
He did age really quickly,
Yeah.
and he went 10 years older. So he was already 15 years older, and so now people think he's my dad or my grandfather. So it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But no, he's always been young at heart, and it's just the age thing it didn't even occur to me. You just love who you love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked.
Obviously, it worked for you guys because it's been 30 years. That's, like I said, my lifetime. So that is a very long time.
It is. And in a way, it's kind of beautiful that he's setting me free, because I'm only 57. Like, let's say he lived until he was 90 and I'm 75. Then what do you do? Like, you're 75, and what are you going to, like, just start over? Like, I feel like I'm still young enough and I'm not talking about finding another spouse or whatever. I'm just talking about living. Like, I'm still young enough to recover from this and not be broken when he goes, you know?
Yeah, to kind of reset and do whatever you want to do. Maybe the things that you couldn't do before
might be totally different. Yeah,
or more of the same stuff. I mean, you'll figure it out as you go, I think.
But I'm young enough to recover, and that's the thing. Like, 'cause I think when you lose your spouse and you're old, it's really hard, you know, because
most spouses follow them.
Exactly. Exactly. So
within a couple of years or so.
Right.
It just gets harder to
because you're just used to it. Your
life is probably based around their life too. So then when that ends, it's just over.
Yeah, because you're so used to always thinking about the other person,
right?
You know. So yeah, no, I definitely know that I'm going to be okay. I'm going to, have a sadness, but I'm going to function, and it's going to be okay.
Right.
And I'll probably always be sad, but. No, I mean, I don't mean it that way. There'll always be a part of me that's sad for not having Terry, but I'm not going to let it consume me.
I don't think grief ever goes away.
Yeah.
I've never lost a partner, but family members, obviously, we both have. And you start to learn how to manage it, but you always remember.
And when you remember, sometimes you feel kind of sad, like it hurts.
There's still moments of... We both get moments of sadness when we think about, grandma, grandpa, my dad, even.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they were as complicated and, in my dad's case, terrible as they were, like it's still grief, and you still feel that loss of someone, but you do start to get better.
It comes and goes less frequently, and you can also push it aside easier.
Yeah.
But you still feel it when it happens.
It's still there, but you start to live life outside of it.
Right. Exactly.
And there's still a lot of life to live outside of it, and
there is, and I have so many people
in
my life, that are just there, and I'm not going to be alone.
Right.
And actually, I'm kind of looking forward to being single for a while. Just like, not because I want to like date or anything, but just. It's been 2 years.
So you can get more cats, or...
Well, how did you know?
She's going to get more cats. She's definitely going to get more cats.
Somebody just said that to me this morning. Like, don't talk that way. We know you're going to get more cats. And I'm like, oh, well, I didn't say I wasn't going to.
Or dogs. You might get more dogs or something.
More Dunkel kind of dogs?
Maybe.
I don't know. I might make it an animal sanctuary.
Why not?
Why not?
You got the space.
But... yeah, I want to. It's kind of interesting to be single again and do what you want to do. But also, I've been caring for Terry, like, even since 2018 when he had his bypass behind his knee. He's really been declining since then.
4 years ago already, huh?
Yeah, and so it's like, it's just been worrying about him for 4 years, and the last year and a half, especially the last, 6 months even, have been really hard. And so... I'd like to see what it's like to not always be in emergency state, so.
Yeah.
We'll see if that happens, though.
Yeah.
Knock on bamboo.
Knock on bamboo. That looks kind of like wood.
We're back to the panda bears. Remember we talked about that with...
that we're going to have them come in and eat them?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yep.
Right.
And we also were talking about not dachshunds. Dachshunds.
Yeah, dachshunds.
That's what, we're trying to figure out how many dachshunds make up a whole human being.
It depends on it depends on the weight.
Yeah. So we're thinking like 20.
20, well, or 15, or 30, or...
Yeah, right.
Good amount.
It depends.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to get home to my man. He's still alive, so...
I'm going to get home to my man and cat, so...
Wait, say it again. Cat and Matt. No, Matt and cat.
My Matt... Wait, with a Matt and a cat. That's it. That's that.
I love it. That is a great... By Dr. Seuss.
By Dr. Katie Seuss. Yes.
I love it.
I'll work on a prototype and see if I can publish it.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, letting us talk about Terry, who is obviously an important part of Mary's life, my life too, obviously. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, for Mary's partner and everything, I think it was good that we talked about him, especially while he's still here.
Yeah, I wanted to do that, So thanks for watching and listening. Till next time.
Till next time, support us on Patreon.
Life goes on, you guys. Come on. I'm grieving. Patreon.
Until next time.
That was good.